This is ugly news that I have to give you, particularly in the context of security threats. Unfortunately, it seems that some of those that we look to protect us may have betrayed us, may have betrayed our values, may have made us look ourselves like the enemy. The Inspector General of the Australian Defence Force this afternoon released his annual report, which included an update on the investigation into alleged war crimes by some of our special forces in Afghanistan. It's an investigation led by a former judge, Major General Paul Brereton. Now, the scale of this investigation is shocking, and it started, the Inspector General said, with vague rumours of very serious wrongdoing by Special Forces soldiers over more than 10 years. And he then says it took years for some soldiers, current and past, to actually trust that the heads of our armed forces really were serious about getting to the truth of them. That's a sad reflection right there. The result now, after talking to more than 300 witnesses over 4 years, is this, and this is quite shaming. This inquiry is investigating no fewer than 55 separate incidents or issues that could have broken the law of armed conflict. 55. Now, these 55 separate incidents are predominantly alleged unlawful killings of persons who were non-combatants or were no longer combatants, but also cruel treatment of such persons. I want you to be clear about what we're talking about here. In my words, not the reports, we're talking about civilians and people who'd surrender being tortured or executed. Allegedly, what's all allegedly, one example might be, shot in the head. And be clear about this. Other thing here. We are talking about incidents said to have been done not in cold blood, not in the fog of war. As the report says, the inquiry is not focused on decisions made during the heat of battle. It's what soldiers did after that. Now, the report says it's still gathering evidence, this inquiry. No findings have been made about guilt or innocence, but there is no hiding how seriously it is taking these 55 allegations. The Inspector General correctly, in my opinion, won't name any of the soldiers being investigated. He says, well, you know, we can't destroy a man's reputation with allegations publicly that may later prove false. But we do already know that one of our most decorated soldiers, Victoria Cross winner Ben Roberts-Smith, is suing 3 newspapers of the 9 Group for claiming he ordered the execution of an unarmed Afghan civilian. Now, Roberts-Smith denies this allegation strongly, and this report from the ADF Inspector General does not mention him or his case. So the Roberts-Smith stuff, that must and will be judged separately in our courts. So put Roberts-Smith aside. This is instead about the damage, I think, that these allegations in the report, if they're true, will do to our reputation, Australia's reputation. Now, some people will say that's precisely why the Australian Defence Force should have let sleeping dogs lie. What good comes out of painting our soldiers who are in stressful conditions in a war zone overseas, what good comes out of painting them as war criminals? It just encourages our enemies and makes our soldiers and us less safe. But I've got to ask what good comes out of committing war crimes in the first place, if that's what happened. And it's that which would make us less safe and make us also less than what we Australians are or what we should be.